the alignment that happened, like my path wasn't supposed to be a professional basketball player, you know.
Mhm.
Um, it was supposed to be through the camera. And from when I was younger, my mom always told me that I need to enter the art school when I get into college. And I was like, nah, ball is life. I'll be a pro, entrepreneur. And it's like I love the relationship I have with basketball.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of She Got Next. My guest today is Brittani Burgess. She's a documentary filmmaker, an archivist.
I was
talk about a whole lot.
introduced to
Let's get into
you
it.
through a mutual connection, a videographer, a creative. Shout out Kamisi. Kamisi was
Oh, yeah.
yeah, months ago on LinkedIn, he like sent me your profile and some links to your work. And it's like, you should know her.
Yeah.
And then I went and looked at the stuff and I was like, I want to talk to her. I want to do more than just look at the stuff because your work is inspiring. It's education. It's emotional to me. And I wanted to talk to you about it because of how I felt when I looked at it. Now, I'm going to dive into a lot of your background, if you don't mind. I always like to do like a deep dive. I read old articles and listen to old podcasts of
Oh,
my guests to get a sense of who they are.
yeah.
And I know that you played D1 basketball at VCU. You spent some time in Spain playing as a professional before turning a page on that part of your chapter, your life, your story.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into a little bit of that, Brittani.
Cool. Blessings. Nah, that's so cool that you also do like your research. That's cool.
Well, looking at that, thinking
Yeah.
like through the lens of knowing that you're a baller,
Yeah.
I feel like athletes that are creatives or creatives that were once athletes have a unique relationship with timing. And I'd
Mm,
like to get your thoughts on this. To me, it seems like you all understand the need for timing, good timing, waiting for a shot to unfold, like you're waiting for a play to unfold. You're waiting to position yourself just right so you have the outcome that you want. If it's expected, unexpected, but you're well positioned to capture, to get whatever it is you're trying to get out of that situation. Does that seem like accurate to you? Like as a player, you learned about the necessity of timing and you apply that to what you do behind the lens.
yeah. Nobody's actually like asked that question in that way of like timing. Um, and it is like all about timing really, and it's all about like being adaptable and already like foreseeing what's going to happen before it happens, you know. And I think that's like the beauty of like there's a difference between watching the game but also like being in the game, you know what I'm saying? And the being behind the camera now, it's like I kind of already see what's about to happen before it happens, you know, which is definitely like a blessing that I can be in the right position, or I can already know what a player's about to do, and you know, just capture the moment as best as I can. So no, it definitely is about timing a lot of times, and even timing like off the court when the game is over, you know, and understanding that when an athlete needs time, when they don't want the camera in their face and stuff like that. So I think timing is like kind of like the perfect word to put what goes into being a former athlete and now being the one that's capturing like these moments, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you said a couple of things. I have a lot of notes that I want to get through, Brittany. Like, I got to ask you about this and this. But you said something about understanding when an athlete wants that space. I'm paraphrasing here that you relate and respect athletes as an athlete yourself when it's a good moment to be in their face and when it's not. You try to push athletes out of their comfort zone, but you, again, understand and respect them. Here's my bigger question actually about that topic. Right now, a lot of individual athletes have their own media companies. They're
Yeah.
producing content on their own. Of course, we know all of the things that are happening on social media. And part of me is like, I love that for them. They want to
Yeah.
be able to control and create and tap into whatever other talents they may have. But I also feel like it doesn't allow for objectivity.
Mm,
It's really kind of maybe whitewashing their experience. And we don't get to see elements of who they are when it could be a really great thing to explore, but they don't really see it that way. Or it could be something that's kind of ugly, but reveals a realness to them that their fans could potentially really enjoy seeing. So
yeah.
again, understanding like the fact that athletes want to be able to control the narrative, to
Mhm.
own that their name and likeness and image and all those things. Again, it can be empowering, but you as a creative, I imagine again, like you have a different perspective and you're not coming necessarily to tell a particular story, but you want things to unfold and the trueness to come through. How do you feel about this balance, this reality again that athletes have this access to versus someone like you wanting to come in and have a different lens with which you see what they do on the court, on the field?
I love that question. I do, because I think that's like actually a big thing, because some of these athletes come on these projects as executive producers, and then they have control of like what's being seen and stuff like that, which is understandable, right? But you used to like turn like whitewashing and whatnot, and it's kind of, it puts this layer over like the story itself that sometimes may not seem authentic to like what's really happening. But because I understand like these athletes also want to like just protect themselves, protect their families, their friends, and stuff like that. And so I think that's when like in pre-production, the conversation of like what this is, because we can make this just a highlight showing all the good, or we
Yeah.
can actually show the bad that actually occurs as well, just showing your authentic life. um and so I think that that's important as like a storyteller, is to gain the trust of your your client, or like whoever your characters that you're following, and understand that you're never there to try to make them look bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course there's things that we can cut out and whatnot, but when it comes down to showing your fans, the audience, like who you actually are, you're going to have to get out your comfort zone and be okay with being vulnerable as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't just a highlight. If you want to make a highlight, we can make a highlight, but it's like understanding what are we actually doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we telling a story, or are we just highlighting your life? You know what I'm
Or you're
saying?
making an Instagram reel, it's all smiles and buckets, or
Yeah, and we could do that, but it's just like, then what's how relatable are you actually to people that can't necessarily touch you in that way? You know what I'm saying? So I love that question, because that is a thing. Like, yeah, the athletes can control their narrative, but it depends on like what narrative they're trying to tell. If they're trying to tell themselves, or they're trying to just, like we said, show a highlight. So yeah,
well, that's
trust.
what I think can be hard. Like they're clearly trying to protect their brand. And again, you understand from the lens of being an athlete yourself. You understand like if I'm going through it on the court, I'm going through injury, I'm in the locker room, I'm getting iced, I'm getting taped up. Maybe you don't want to show that stuff. Maybe
Yeah,
you have ugly feet and you're like, don't zero in on my feet because I play basketball.
yeah,
Whatever that reality is.
yeah,
But it's like those real things. Again, this is why I think that you do your job so well, as you understand that, but also you understand as a fan potentially and as a creative
yeah,
that if you want like authentic fans to live in the reality of what your life is like, it can't just be Instagram reels and TikToks.
yeah,
Because I feel like that does create another barrier to who you are. If you want people to really be a fan of yours or just know the truth, even
mhm,
if they don't,
yeah.
show up and wave a pom pom for you, like the honesty is what people are really attracted to.
That part. And I think working with League One volleyball, those athletes are probably the most vulnerable athletes that I've like ever worked with. They understand the importance of like their stories, and also building a league, and showing the world what volleyball is. And so they understood like how vulnerable they had to be. And they those athletes, like, and these are Olympians, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they're inviting us into their house, like with their families, on the phone with their families. Like, the access that they gave us, um just show that it's possible to also protect your brand, but to also tell your story. Because the way they opened up was like, sheesh, and even JuJu and her family. I've been following JuJu for 4 years now, and they opened their doors to me, and invite me into these spaces. And we just have an understanding of like, JuJu, the family, friends are always protected, you know what I'm saying? But
Mm.
um it's also kind of different with her, because her trajectory and like where she's going and stuff like that. But it's possible if you could gain the trust of your characters, for sure.
Well, let's talk about JuJu for a minute here. On LinkedIn, in a post about On the Rise, JuJu Watkins, you wrote this: being able to document this young lady for the past 4 years has taught me a lot about the world of documentary filmmaking. Tell me some of the things that you learned from that experience. That's a long time,
Yeah,
4 years.
yeah. I think patience is the biggest thing, and to not just hop on the next wave, because with JuJu, like there was like talks about her being like the next big thing in high school, right? But you don't really know. And so with me and that relationship, it wasn't me like hopping on a wave. It was me just believing in like her story, her family. Um, and now I'm like on the wave. You know what I'm saying? Like I was there before all the hype.
Yeah.
There was already hype with her, but I was already there. And even like with the project, originally it was just for YouTube, like the first season when she was in high school. And then production stopped due to stuff I don't even know about, like upper hand stuff like budget and stuff like that. But even though it stopped, for whatever reason, I just kept coming to her games and filming, and the family was like, "Yo, we want to keep this going." And so because I continued documenting her without like worrying about money or nothing, just driving from Oakland to USC every week. Because we had all that footage, they were able to create the first season of On the Rise that was put on like on Peacock. Originally it was for YouTube, but now they had the whole season because of all that archival footage I had. You know, they was able to finish the story just because I believed in her and what she had going on. So, and I think that showed a lot to the family as well, that I wasn't like trying to, just I don't know. It just showed how
To get a
genuine.
piece of what's out there. You were just like, I'm in it to tell the story.
Yeah, I just believed in the story and I believed in her. And even with League One Volleyball, I started with them 4 years ago as well, before they became this multi.
The talk of town.
Yeah, and so it's just believing in stories that don't have, and not doing it for the money. Like the money will come, and all that. And because of these two stories, I've been blessed to have more clients and more jobs, just because of me believing, So I think that's what it taught me within the documentary world, to don't just get on the hype, just stay down for a few years, even if it's 4 years, and ride it out,
I'm going to ask you a question about process. I do want to get back to love, so don't let me forget that we're going to talk about
I got
League
you.
One volleyball. I wonder, as you're documenting a game or a conversation, if you're thinking about the edit at the same time. Like, I'm getting this because I know I'm going to place this here, or this would be a great place to add some music, to add some lighting. I'm a nerd for understanding how this works. I know,
Yeah.
and I love it, but I like to understand like the perspective, the thought process as it's unfolding. So do you consider yourself someone who's thinking about the end product while you're in it?
With like On the Rise, it was so run and gun a lot of times that we knew what like event we were going to shoot. We knew what conversations we were going to shoot. But it still took us a moment to be like, afterwards, to be like, all right, how does this work? So it's honestly, with a lot of these run and gun stuff, it's really like putting together a puzzle. And then putting the story together. But then sometimes like you can see how certain things will fit in the edits, and you always write your notes down and stuff like that. But a lot of times for run and gun, it's like, let's just get this and we figure it out later and put the puzzle together, which is a beautiful thing. But I think for me, in my, with how I want my career to go, is kind of like intertwining like narrative and documentaries. So it's like a little bit more intentional with stuff, and it just feels a little different. But I mean, I always love the run and gun stuff, but it just taught me like ways that I can kind of enhance the storytelling within documentary.
Well, getting back to League One volleyball.
Yeah.
It's a league that I somewhat recently became familiar with. Like, women's sports is blowing up all over the country. The Bay Area is getting their team in San Francisco beginning in, I think, January of 27.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the fact that you were able to document these Olympians. Most of them are Olympians who played overseas for years because there just wasn't a professional volleyball league here in the States. And that meant going on the plane, it's flying to Spain, it's going all over the place, seeing them work through injury, through tears, calling family, and wanting to have that connection. One thing that's still interesting to me, and I don't know. We can debate about this if
Hmm.
necessary. Maybe you're, I don't know.
Yeah.
One thing that I loved about some of the images that are captured around women's sports, especially like a league that's new, is
Hmm.
that it really, a lot of folks are good at telling like the ethereal version of these women, right? Like we see them in slow motion and they're taking these big swings at the net and they're coming together and planning and plotting the next play and cheering each other on. And you hear this lovely music
Hmm.
that is inspiring and like, wow. But what I love about sports is the grit. It's the cussing, it's the madness, it's like, let's get it together. And I feel like that's the piece of women's sports documentary telling. I don't know if I said that the right way, documenting of who they are as athletes, that's somewhat missing because
Mm.
I feel like we're still seeing we have that layer, just like we were talking earlier about athletes who have their own media platforms. There's still kind of a filter that's being created to
Mm.
make them seem a little different. Again, like these special beings, and they are special because they're world-class
Yeah.
athletes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like the grit, the grind, the wanting, like the
Hmm.
desire, like
Yeah.
I think humans can really connect to that. And I wonder if when you're watching and creating stories around athletes, like the League One volleyball athletes, if that's a piece of the story that you think can still be told, or I don't know. I'm saying a lot, Brittany. I clearly have
No,
a lot of
no, no,
thoughts,
no, no,
and I'm
no,
really
no.
passionate
You're saying all. No, I think with even within League One volleyball, and I think League One volleyball actually this year did a really good job within their social media of like showing that grit. Especially if you go to Jordan Thompson's page or go to League One, like there's these images her of just her like grunting, of her like yelling, of her just like so intense. And to see that, I think that's kind of what you're talking about a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Of showing like this like don't f with me type of mentality, or like let's get into it. You know, instead of just like always like romanticizing or like
Yeah.
in a way things. And I think League One volleyball this year did a good job of not just beautifying everything, of showing like the grit. And I think through some of their photographers and videographers they brought on this year really allowed that. And the athletes, and it's also the athletes, like, because the athletes sometimes have to like approve certain images and stuff like that, but
Mm.
the athletes were with it, you know what I'm saying? Of showing them not dressed up makeup all the time, you know what I'm saying? So I think League One does started doing a really good job at showing those type of images with these beautiful women, and then showing them is super intense. So but I totally get what you mean within like maybe like the storytelling space, you know, documentaries or what it is, you know what I'm saying? But I think there's definitely more room for that to be captured for sure.
I think that's what I'm getting at. I feel like there needs to be a little bit closer of a balance of it because I feel like we've gone back and forth. Like the WNBA
Yeah.
initially was pretty gritty, and it
Mhm.
felt like well, it's not really inviting to women who don't play quite that way. And then now we've totally softened it. It's like, look,
Yeah.
their makeup doesn't run when they play. But it's like, nah, these girls, these women want to win. Like I like to hear at least
Yeah.
from some perspectives where they allow us to be able to be full humans who have a
Yeah.
range of emotions and really showcase all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And even I love that. Even like, you know, not only showing one type of like looking female as
Yeah.
well, you know what I'm saying? Rather it's somebody who is more masculine presenting or something, like showing them a little bit off, you know, instead of just like what we think we can get from the audience of like just this what the standard stereotypical woman looks like in a way and stuff like that. So just showing like different type of women across the board and not just one type. So I definitely agree with you with that for sure, which is super interesting.
All right, we're gonna work on a project together where we can.
Hey, let's get it. Let's get it.
I'm speaking it into existence, Brittany. I'm
Yeah.
still thinking like, how do we do this?
Yes.
Um, now, thinking again about your time as a ball player, I
Mhm.
kind of think of it like this: as an athlete, just like being a creative, you may initially begin modeling your play, your career, your style on the court like an idol that you have. I
Mhm.
like their handles. I like the way that they play defense, whatever the reality is. And then, but when you get out there on the court, who you are, what you're capable of comes through or it doesn't. Like
Yeah.
you eventually find your own strengths, your own weaknesses, and then
Yeah.
becoming a creative, standing behind the lens. Maybe you were inspired by documentaries, profiles, 30 for 30s, whatever the reality. Like I love those types of things. But
Yeah.
once you literally got behind the lens and started telling those stories through your perspective, your style became your style. Who or what inspired you as a kid? I'll say this. I did hear you say on a podcast that you watched a lot of 60 Minutes where when you were a kid. I
30
did
for
too.
30. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
30 for 30s.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like you like that storytelling. But then once you get behind the lens, you have to eventually come to value
Hmm.
your perspective. So tell me a little bit about when you understood that how you saw the world and how you documented it was something to be valued and that people should pay you for
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah. I love all the questions you're asking, and I love that. I love that question because it wasn't until last year that I feel like I finally found my style. I
Mm,
can't even say through the other documentaries I made with On the Rise, or even the ones with uh of League One volleyball, that I necessarily had a particular style. You know, it was more me just continuing to adapt, um, and to, you know, throw a little bit of sauce on there. But I don't think I was actually able to be super intentional with certain things. You know what I'm saying? Um, to the point that you can watch something and be like, oh, I can tell, like that's Brittany obeys interactions. You know what I'm saying? And so it
mm,
was not until last year where, um, late last year, where I feel like I finally found uh my style in a way, you know. And now it's just really creating a project that I can, you know, do that style, or working with a director or somebody put me on a project where I can really do it, you know what I'm saying, not be so run and gun. Because I feel like now I get hired
mm,
because people know I can be super run and gun and just and get the shots that we need and like maneuver. But as you grow, you're like, yo, and especially when you start watching more films and stuff like that. I'm a fan of Jessica Young, who's an amazing documentary filmmaker within sports. She did the Blue Angels doc. She recently, like last year, brought me onto this project with like 6 other fire DPs, and we were all cam ops for her. And just watching a lot of films, really, not even necessarily documentaries, to really understand like what I want to capture and how I want to capture it. So, um, yeah, I can't say for those documentaries I recently I've worked on in the past, that those were my style at all.
Well, I heard you say you described this is funny. There was a video that you had to make or you were a part of when you were part of the basketball team at VCU and they're like, "Describe your playing style." And you said
very fast, aggressive, wanting to score a lot.
like those were the words that you used to
Yeah,
describe yourself. So I'm like, I wonder how would other people describe your style? Or maybe it's like the evolution of it now that you feel like you've really identified your secret sauce.
yeah. My style is super. It's super chill. It's letting the camera do the talking, and me not always having to necessarily chase the story, you know, and letting just the story unfold. And I think some recent images that I posted on my Instagram of JuJu, I think I let some of that happen of just letting the story unfold. Especially with her right now, like the life isn't, she has so many things going on, but right now life is settled, so it's like, why not let the camera be settled as well with her, you know what I'm saying? And then like we can ramp it up once the season gets going, because it's going to be crazy, and I
Gonna be
won't be able to
crazy.
necessarily just sit with my images like I want to. And so right now I think my style is very much so calming, chill, but I definitely want to intertwine the social media world within it. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at some of these content creators and what they create, and I think there's a space for documentaries to also emulate that and for it to be a balance. So I think it's definitely just the including the basic skills of cinematography and storytelling, but also including this social media element and rhythm, because it's like that's why we doom scroll, you know what I'm saying? So if I can make a film that you feel like you just doom scrolling on, then there it is, you know what I'm saying? So that's like what I've been able to sit with and try to emulate.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
like for someone who's used to telling such long stories, like having to adapt to the reality that it's like you got to capture people's attention in those first 2 seconds. It's so
Yeah.
funny. Like even if you're enjoying scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, it's still called doom scrolling. You're like, no matter what's happening,
Yeah.
you're going down this. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want you to
Yeah.
enjoy this doom scrolling you're doing, watching pieces of my documentary.
Yeah.
Thinking about your career, I read some details about your professional career in Spain, and how it didn't necessarily turn out the way that you expected or wanted it to.
Yeah.
And then in 2018, you said to your mom, "I'm moving to California."
Yeah.
And the only thing you knew about Oakland was Too Short and the Black Panthers. And you got
Yeah.
a coaching job for a college team. And it's like while you were trying to escape or maybe move beyond basketball, it kept following you.
Yeah.
Tell me
Yeah.
about that emotional. I think you said in one interview it was a healing journey that you went on,
Yeah.
ending a particular chapter and then being chased down by this game at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah. It's crazy because it was like a heartbreak with basketball. I felt like, especially after like my career overseas ended, and even in college, I'm just like, yo, I'm giving so much to you, and you're not giving it back, you know. And so I was just so upset with basketball because I made so many sacrifices, missed out on so many things within my childhood, my college career, and it's just like I gave so much to you, and what did I get back, you know? But the universe, your ancestors, God, whoever it is, your family's prayers, like whatever it is, like it had a different outcome for me because I don't. Sometimes I'm like, yo, how am I here? Like I'm documenting one of the greatest women's basketball players. I'm documenting this amazing league. I like even 4 years ago, I was working with Asia Wilson on a project with Microsoft, and now to see her where she is now, and so it's just like the alignment that happened. Like my path wasn't supposed to be a professional basketball player, you know. Um, it was supposed to be through the camera. And from when I was younger, my mom always told me that I need to enter the art school when I get into college, and I was like, nah, ball is life. I'll be a pro, entrepreneur, that type of thing. And she was just like, all right. And so to see now, she always says, she was like, I told you you're an artist, like since you were little. And so for me to be on the other end, it's like I love the relationship I have with basketball now, and I thank basketball every day for what it's done for me. Like last month, I was with Asia Wilson uh, in Europe, like documenting and shooting content, and it's just like I'm like, yo, what am I doing? Like they rented out the Eiffel Tower just to get this shot of her with her shoes and stuff. I'm like,
This is my life.
yeah, like I'm so blessed and so grateful. And like I wake up every day. One, I'm grateful every day to wake up just to eat breakfast. But like then I just look around, I'm just like, yo, like thank you, basketball, you know? Truly. Yeah.
Something I read on social that you put up towards the end of 2025. You wrote, for all my creatives, everything in 2025 didn't happen to you.
Mm,
It happened for you.
mm,
And the way that you're describing the end of your professional career, your playing career, and then it informing what you do now,
yeah.
it sounds similar. It's just like whatever happened in 2025, as an entrepreneur myself, it's ups and downs. It's feast, it's famine. Everybody wants you, then it goes quiet.
Yeah.
I imagine when you were putting out that message to folks, it was somewhat for them, but also for you in those quiet moments.
Yeah. Because even like with this entrepreneurship, this life as a filmmaker, I'm still making sacrifices, even more sacrifices that I felt like I've made that I had to make when I was playing basketball. And so it's like, I'm missing out on weddings, birthdays, time with my family. I'm originally from Maryland and I live over here in California now. And so it's a lot of emotionally, like sometimes it's like, dang, like, and then you go back home and you see like some of your family members like limping or like, when did that, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Cousins are growing up and
yo,
yeah.
and so it's just like, it's just like, what do you really want out of this? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then just realizing the things that are seem like it's rough for a reason, but you just gotta like either just push through or let go, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, and I feel like in 2025 it was a lot of just letting go of stuff personally, career wise, and so yeah, just try to make life hard, like easier. Like listen to your body is what I really started to understand. Like my body is telling me something for a reason, and I'm constantly going against it. So what happens if I just trust myself? You know, like, and so that's really what it is. And just take a risk. Constantly. But sometimes life doesn't have to always be so hard. This is what I'm realizing.
Yeah, I feel like it's like you said, sometimes it's push, sometimes it's release, it's pull, it's release. It's like understanding when to do what, not always getting
Yeah.
it right, but eventually landing there and being okay with the fact that you might have been wrong for a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
staying as in tune to who you are, why you do what you do,
Mm.
the goals that you have, and then just being like, I'm glad I woke up and had breakfast
Come on
and,
now.
and kind of living in that gratitude.
Yes, yes, yes. Wait.
Um, the last 5 minutes of an interview, I like to ask the same 4 questions,
Hmm.
if you don't mind.
Okay.
I like to ask you to share your first sports memory or like an early sports memory of yours that turned you into a fan. There was a particular athlete that you're like, I want to be that when I grow up.
Mm. I think watching. Wait, what year? What year? Ah. Okay. Because I forgot what year it was, but watching Candace Parker play on TV
Ah,
was in that Tennessee
wait,
team.
I was gonna say at Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah, like her, Shannon Bobbitt, Alexis. Oh man, I can't forget. I can't remember some people's name, but watching that Tennessee team, and Candace, I think that's what was like a pivotal point of me with my love for basketball. I mean, I always loved basketball, but I was always watching like for me, like Clyde the Glide, Clyde Drexler was one of my favorite players, and John Wall. Like I literally had two fat heads of John Wall in my room. But just something every day. Every day I was watching basketball, but it was something about that Tennessee team with Candace Parker, Shannon Bobbitt, that just made me realize like I want to play in college.
Hmm.
So that's a memorable moment. It was just constantly trying to get home and watch Candace Parker play.
Ah, it's
Yeah.
funny. I'm a Tennessee. If I had to pick between Tennessee and UConn, I'm a Tennessee girl. I was
Yeah,
rooting for the Lady Vols. I'm like,
yeah. Go on. Oh my gosh. Oh, beautiful basketball. Beautiful.
What about a movie, a sports movie that you have on rewatch that you quote often? Is there one that comes to mind for you?
Yes, it's two. It's definitely he got game and loving basketball.
Hey, you're the
Yeah.
first one to say he got game.
What?
That
People
has
are
been on my list. Like I've been waiting for someone to say he got game. I'm like, that is such a classic movie,
yes.
very quotable.
Yes, very, very. Oh my gosh. Yes. Come on, y'all. Come on.
I heard Denzel say, or Spike Lee say, that Denzel was really playing
Yeah, he was.
that one. He's like, we're not going to pretend right now. He's like, we are going one on one. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, he was going hard against Ray. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. I can have on repeat all day.
What about Love and Basketball? What about that movie?
I think it's just seeing a female hooper. Like it was like yo, like everybody wanted to be like Monica Rowe, but I think it's just seeing a woman basketball player who and Gina Bollywood, great director. Like in the writing of that movie, it was just like she's saying everything like yo. I can't yell, or if I scream or yell at somebody in their face, I told that like a lady and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
the freshmen or point guards lead from the front, not the back. It was so relatable, especially as I got older. I'm like, yo, or even going overseas and playing in Spain, it was just like her just sitting there by herself, and then what's her name? Her old teammate saying, "Yo, they love us over there," and like they
Yeah.
did, but it was like something that was like, I miss my family. Yeah, like this can't be it. You know what I'm saying? So that movie is it's just so related. So both for female hoopers.
It's a classic. I always like to ask if there are particular group of people, or maybe just a single person that you would like to shout out as the person or people who really helped you to get to where you are right now? Like, you wouldn't be who you are, Brittani, if it
Mm,
hadn't been this person or this person really speaking life into you, encouragement into you.
mm. Yeah, that's easy. My mom, my mom, I think my whole family, like I have a beautiful family, from my
Aw.
grandparents, from my siblings to my uncles, my aunts. They have always spoke like life into me, since I was younger. And so especially my mom and my grandmother, like they're two beautiful people that I talk to my mom at least 5 times a day. You know, like for real. Like and it's just yeah, my family and I have some beautiful friends, childhood friends as well. But my family is definitely the people, the group of people who have always spoke life into me and never made me. They just made me feel like I could do anything in the world. Like, to be honest,
Hmm.
like, so I'm very blessed to have the family that I have.
I'm happy that you have that support.
Yeah,
The
thank
last question I ask is
yeah.
how you're creating space for the next generation of women in the industry and thinking about the way that you are creating content, which sounds very social media. I don't mean it that way, but like you're.
Oh, I love that question, and I was just talking to my homegirl M Johnson, who is an amazing content creator, photographer, uh, just marketing person. M Johnson on social media. Most of the people that are in my DMs, younger people who are asking me questions. It's mostly guys, and I'm always showing love. You know what I'm saying? But I realized, like, dang, like there's not a lot of women uh filmmakers who 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 uh who hit me up, you know what I'm saying? Within the sports realm. Um
Mm.
and so that's something I'm actually sitting with, of like, I'm still building my career and stuff like that, and I know I'm still learning, and I never want to come off as like this person that just feels like they know everything. You know what I'm saying? That's why you don't ever really see me talking to my camera or on social media, or like see me like post certain videos. Because I never want to come off like that. But I do think soon that I like I should have like a bigger impact within like the community, and start like putting in effort to um, cultivate a space for young women sports filmmakers. You know what I'm saying? Not just content creators or videographers, but
Yeah.
filmmakers. You know what I'm saying? And understanding what actually making a film is and how it works. You know what I'm saying? So I love that question because it just reminds me, like, and that's definitely a priority. So thank you for that question.
Well, not to play older sister here, but
Yeah.
there are things that I understand the desire to not come off as knowing everything.
No, please preach, please, please, please.
I feel like a lot of people don't put out what they do know because they feel like, well, I don't know everything, or I
Yeah,
don't want other people to think I know
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Instead of telling yourself that story and
yeah,
allowing that to be a boundary,
mm,
or I say the people who are for you are going to be for you.
yeah,
You don't need to convince everyone, like, don't worry, everyone. I don't know whatever they think, they think. But
yeah,
you know what you know.
yeah,
And
yeah,
telling people what you know at this stage, and then later on saying, here's what else I learned in the
yeah,
last 2 years. Like, keeping that conversation going, it could
mm,
be really helpful for people who just want to get started, who know that there's more learning to do.
yeah,
And I feel like the earlier you understand your passion, the lens, the perspective, how unique and valuable that is,
mm,
it speaks to so much more about who you are and how you show up in the world. Not
yeah,
just with what you produce, but like you can walk into a space and be like, I'm okay the way that I am. I'm
yeah,
made just the way I'm supposed to be.
that part.
How I walk, how I talk, where my shoulders are, my hair, all of those things,
Yeah,
that confidence. And when you have something attached to it, like this product, this service, this ability, I think it just amplifies it even more.
yeah. No, I totally needed to hear that. Because I have to remind myself that I'm not a content creator. Like, I'm a filmmaker. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and I'm within the doc uh
Yes.
world. You know what I'm saying? So it is a difference, you know what I'm saying? And so no, I totally needed to hear that, you know.
I
And
did hear you say that you recently understood yourself to be a
yeah.
documentary filmmaker.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me. Just understanding myself. But I thank you for that. I really truly needed to hear that.
I'm like, Brittani, and another thing, you need
Yeah.
to also be adding more protein to your breakfast. No. One last question I want to ask you. I didn't get to this.
Yeah, for sure.
I noticed that you changed the title in your Instagram handle. It just says archivist.
Mm,
And then in a podcast, you talked about how like you want to make sure that you're also documenting yourself, your journey. Tell
yeah.
me about that kind of revelation about
Yo,
why it became necessary to do
yo, you
that.
you pay attention to the details. That's
I'm
yeah,
trying to be like you. You see the details, and I.
yeah. I put archivist because something. Well, I started. It's what I realized I've been doing. Even with JuJu is I was constantly and still am building her archive, um,
Mhm.
building her archive. Now she completely owns this footage, and she doesn't have to worry about a company coming in, and 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 filming her. Now she doesn't own the footage, right? And now she's able to lease this footage, you know what I'm saying, and get a bag off of that. And now
Yeah.
I'm starting to build, especially since I'm now out here in LA, like I'm starting to build other people's archive as well. And through that, I think it's just, and then now my name gets passed on as being this person who is trustworthy and will help you build your archive, especially for people who we know will eventually have a story. Um, and then I've just always been into like history and stuff like that. Like for my 21st birthday, I went to Vegas just so I could go to the pawn shop, and to the Hoover Dam. Like, um, and so it's just, I don't know. It's just a lot of full circle moments that's happening. But I also, like you said, I need to start building my own archive as well. Yeah, I worry about other people too much. Yeah, I need to worry about myself sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta
So
turn the lens, just turn
just
it
a
the
little
other.
bit, yes, because you're not the first person to tell me this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, the universe, my ancestors, God, are bringing these people into my life and telling me this over and over for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, when are you going to listen to it and just do it? You know what I'm saying? So I'm blessed to sit here and talk to you and to like constantly again have this affirmation that there's more that I could be doing.
I appreciate you saying that. This show, this series, it doesn't exist the way that I really want it to. The vision of it hasn't been realized. I'm sitting on the floor of my friend's bedroom. I'm in Seattle right now. I'm in visiting here, going to a lot of women's sports professional game, like soccer game. I'm going to the Storm game tomorrow night.
Grinding, grind,
Shooting,
grind.
grinding, trying to make it
Yeah,
work. My vision for it is much bigger,
yeah,
but I'm doing this because I feel like I can't not. I want to. These conversations mean so much to me, and when someone like you says yes, and then someone like you says, "I really like this question," I'm always like, "Yay, they like the question." That's so nice. I only ask questions that I really want the answers to.
yeah.
But when, you're being interviewed by lots of different people, all the women that I've had on the network, when they say something like, "Oh, no one's asked me that before," I feel
Mm,
like that is God
ooh,
reminding me that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And
you,
like you said earlier on, the money will come. The
yeah,
audience will come, the path will open up, but just doing the work and knowing again what you're trying, like the goal of it. The goal
yeah,
of it for me is to share these stories. And I want somebody to hear about Brittani and this amazing content that she creates, these documentaries, these films, archiving people's lives, and then going back and watching JuJu, going back and watching the LOVB footage. Like that's a win to me.
yeah.
So again, I'm doing big sister preaching to Brittani, but
No, I love it. Like honestly, because it's like I feel like it's like it's a beautiful transaction that's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like of giving and receiving on both ends. You know,
yeah.
and I can say that I received so much through this that I needed. Um, and it's just alignment. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, and I gotta shout you out for doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like truly, and like even the research that you're doing, like, and the fact that you saw that recently, I put archivist as well, like, and mentioned it to me, like, it just means a lot as well. You know what I'm saying?
And thank you again for watching this on YouTube, listening on Spotify, following along on Instagram and Blue Sky. Until next time.